Percent solutions. This little video will help you in the calculating of percent solutions or concentration problems. There are four possible ways to talk about concentrations: weight in weight, the number of grams of drug per 100 grams of final product; weight in volume, the number of grams of drug per 100 mLs of final product; volume in volume, the numbers of mLs of drugs to 100 mLs of final product; or parts per million, 1 milligram in 1 kilogram or 1 milligram in 1 liter of solute. And in terms of percent solution, by definition, a little example up here in the corner, a 9% solution by this definition would mean 9 grams in 100 grams. If you're doing weight in volume, 9 grams in 100 mLs, or volume in volume, 9 mLs in 100 mLs. These would all give you a 9% solution. If you're going to convert a ratio, like 1 to 1,000, to a percent conversion, here's the formula for doing it. X to Y becomes X divided by Y times 100, and that gives you your percentage. So here's an example. If you have a concentration of 1 in 1,000, it becomes 1 divided by 1,000 times 100, or 0.1%. So calculations, creating one concentration from another. These tend to be complicated, but once you get used to doing them and you do a lot of practice, they're really not so bad. For example, say I have a bottle of 50% dextrose and I need 500 mLs of 10%. One equation you could use for this is desired strength divided by available strength equals amount to use divided by the amount to make. So if I need 500 mLs of 10% and I have 50%, 10% is my desired strength, 50 is my available strength, and that equals X divided by the 500 milliliters, the amount that I want to make. So if I cross multiply and divide, 10 times 500 equals 50X. I divide both sides by 50, and X equals 100 milliliters. I would need 100 milliliters of 50% dextrose. We can look at this another way. This equation is volume 1 times concentration 1 equals volume 2 times concentration 2. So my volume 1, we don't know how much I'm going to use of that, so it's X. My concentration 1 is 50%. What I want to end up with is a volume of 500 milliliters of 10%. So 50X equals 500 times 10. Divide both sides by 50, and X is 100 milliliters. There's a third way to work this out. If you just think about the percent solution rule, that the percentage is the number of grams of drugs in 100 mLs. So I have a solution that's 50%. It's 50 grams of drugs in every 100 mLs of fluid. I'd like to end up with 10%. 10% is 10 grams in 100 mLs. Well, if I have 10 grams in 100 mLs and I want a desired amount of 500, 100 to 500 is 5 times. So I also multiply my 10 grams by 5 times, and I need 50 grams. So my 50% solution is going to be 50 grams in 100 mLs. So we need to add enough to equal enough water so that we have 500 milliliters of my new concentration. Let's try some practice examples. I need to make 750 milliliters of a 0.9 concentration of drug A. How many grams of drug A do I need to do this? Well, a 0.9% solution by definition is 0.9 grams per 100 milliliters. So I set up my ratio. If there's 0.9 grams in 100 milliliters, then there's X grams in 750 milliliters. So cross multiply and divide. 0.9 times 750 divided by 100 equals X. I would need 6.75 grams of drug A. Or I could plug that into an equation. V1C1 equals V2C2. Or I could use the equation desired strength divided by available strength equals amount to use divided by amount to make. So with the V1C1, X times 100 equals 0.9 times 750. And it still works out to 6.75. Another example. I put 2 grams of drug B into 350 mLs of solution. What percent solution do we have? Well, 2 grams in 350 milliliters equals X to 100. Cross multiply and divide. 2 times 100 equals 200. Divide that by 350 and you have a 0.57% solution. Come up with questions about percent solution and post to the discussion boards. I will post a few questions to see if you can work them out and share your logic and show your work on the boards. These are really not all that difficult once you just get the basic rules into place, and it's definitely worth working with these kinds of problems. It's fine that you can use a calculator on tests, but if you're not sure how to set up a problem, it doesn't really help to have the calculator. So let's work on setting up some problems and discuss them in the boards. Thanks.